Hello students, welcome back to the new lecture of power system analysis, and today our topic is power system stability. Before starting, we have to see what topic we people are going to study in this new lecture. We will study about the power system stability, type of stability, need for a power system to smooth operation, need of stability in the power system, and what are the various characteristics of the power system diagrams. Now, as we know that our power system is divided basically into the three sections: generation, transmission, and distribution, right? During this process, our alternator has to work very crucially during the generation of the electrical energy, because it is governed with any turbine. It may be the hydro, it may be the thermal. So controlling, protecting and balancing the generator is essential task for a power engineer. Now, what is power system? It is a collection of generation, transmission, distribution and utilization. Utilization means several loads are connected at a utilization section, like commercial load, industrial and domestic, or a household. Now, what is power system stability? It is the ability of power system to return to its normal or stable condition after being disturbed is called stability. Suppose any power system is disturbed for a short or a long time, then it is a capability of a power system to return its original smooth position or a healthy position after the disturbance. The disturbance of system may be various type, like sudden change of the load or sudden short circuit between the line and ground. Various type of faults may be. These changes or instability or undesirable output obtained due to the fault, due to the switching operation, due to the environmental conditions. Sometime, like there may be a earthquake, there may be any flood system or any other disaster which may cause the instability in our power system, right? Due to instability, we see here that the natural curve of alternating cycle is disturbed, but after stability our cycle becomes smooth sinusoidal, as we see here, right? So it is our duty to apply a good protecting device or a signal conditioning device so that after the fault the power system work smoothly, right? Now we have to discuss the type of stability. The power system stability is also known as a synchronous stability, right? It can be a several type of stability process which we have to study. Suppose we are going to study about steady state stability, transient stability. This stability occurs due to the disturbance in a system. It may be in a generator section, it may be in a transmission section, it may be in a distribution section, it may be in any equipment also, right? The steady state stability basically refers to the ability of a system to regain its synchronism. Here the term synchronism means the synchronous operation of a alternator, which means we have to maintain the speed, that is the angular speed, and the frequency of the network, right? After slow and small disturbance which occurs due to the gradual power change. The word gradual power change means the power is increasing gradually in a known process, and also the power is going to decrease gradually in a known process. Suppose in summer we know that the consumption of electrical power increases. It means it is a known factor, so we are already prepared for the steady state stability of protecting the power system. Now the steady state stability is further subcategorized into two parts. Number one is a dynamic stability and another one is a static stability. The dynamic stability means we have to control the steady state stability using the artificial intelligence process or SCADA process within few seconds, for example within 10 to 30 seconds, so that we can control the dynamic stability quickly. While in the static stability process, we are not using any automatic system, we are not using any artificial intelligence system, we just use a manual system. It may be a governor system which is used to control the RPM or the temperature of a thermal equipment, or balancing the load angle, It may be any manual process. We also use sometime a voltage regulator manually. AVRs are used now these days, but earlier variable auto transformer are not available so frequent. Now in the transient stability, it is defined as the ability of a power system to return to its normal condition after a large disturbance. Now large disturbance means amount of the disturbance is large, but it can be happen for a short duration of a time, right? Short duration of time means for few seconds, but its amount is very high. Such type of instability occurs due to the switching of any operating devices, sudden fault, sudden outage of the line, or removal or adding of heavy load over the grid or over the bus system, right? Why and how stability disturbs? Why we are very much interested in the stability analysis? This can be understood with these two graphs. Suppose we have a transient at this point. Now this is, if we see from the graph, the point of occurrence of the transient is very short time duration, but the peak value of this transient is very large. Suppose this is a peak to peak value of a normal operation of voltage, but during the transient this peak value suddenly increases. It may be in a positive, it may be also in a negative cycle also. So the peak value increases or the spike increases due to a lightning process or due to any other conditions, but this can damage our equipment, this can damage our transmission line, this can damage our generators, transformers. So it is our duty to prevent the devices from such type of transient. Now if we see the graph at this side, we have two type of waves we people are seeing here. First one is a transient. It means the voltage gradually increase and down, and this is a transient analysis, right? And we also have studied such type of analysis in a control system, and this type of analysis solved with the help of the time domain of the control system process. And after the steady state means how much time it is required to become smooth operation. Smooth operation means here the magnitude of the output is basically 1 or 100%. So if we see here, the time taken to achieve steady state is very large. The good equipments have to bear a short time of steady state. If there is a short time of steady state, then it is a very good equipment for we people. Now if we see here how this stability disturbs in our electrical system, this can be analyzed with the load duration curve. Now we already know that we have a peak load capacity. Peak load capacity means every day, if we see in a summer, from as the government policy, from 3 p.m. in an afternoon to 9 to 10 p.m. in a late night, there is a peak demand of electricity. But we have only such type of base load capacity at our power generation plant. We can fluctuate our generation within this limit. This is total capacity requirement. But in sudden time, in a very short duration, we face a heavy load demand. This is a peak hour. Now if we are not using very good equipment, if we do not protect our equipment from such type of transient instability, then it can be damage our equipment. How these can be managed? This can be managed by the shutdown of any substation, or shutdown of any power outage, or there may be a roasting, or there may be a power outage at small villages, or government imposes that industry will work in late night to early morning only, offices where work from off duty to on duty. Such are the policies to minimize this peak load capacity curve, so that this can be distributed within the load following capacity limit, right? Now we have to understand one more thing. It is impossible to design a system which is stable under all disturbances. We don't have any such technique that we have a system which does not impose any type of instability or the disturbance. No, we have to keep our measures, we have to keep our eye open to look where the instability or the instability occurs and the disturbance occurs. It is our duty to take necessary steps to remove all the disturbance within time. It is not possible to design any system without any instability, because instability also gives us a sign of the under utilization of any equipment, right? So that power system is generally designed to be stable under those disturbances which have a high degree of occurrence. Therefore, we design such type of equipment and the stability logics whose degree of occurrence, means the chance of occurrence of instability is, whose frequency of the instability is very high. For example, lightning over a transmission line is a frequently. So we have to keep such type of equipment or lightning arrestor or surge arresters which can protect our equipments. Now line to ground fault is very frequent in our country. Therefore we use isolator, relay, circuit breaker, distance relays and circuit breaker to protect our equipment, right? Now what is the need of stability? If we do not study why it is necessary to take necessary action about the stability and why we are so much worried about it, because the stability determines the critical clearing time of the circuit breaker. It means what the equipment we people are using, we have a good knowledge of the circuit breaker, relay and other protecting device, that how much they take a time to clear the fault, how much they take a time to clear the disturbance. If the clearing time is very short, then definitely the equipment is very good. If the clearing time is very long, then the equipment is very worst, right? Now the investigation of available method of the protecting relay and available method of clearing abnormalities, like we have already studied in a load flow analysis that we design a Y bus matrix, Z bus matrix, or we have a certain methods to calculate load flow analysis, that Newton Raphson is there, Gauss-Seidel is there, fast decoupled methods are there, so that we can analyze that how quickly we can resolve our problems if there is any abnormalities in a power system. Also it is useful to determine the voltage level and instantaneous control. Why we are very much about the voltage level? Suppose there is any open circuit, then there must be an open circuit voltage. Suppose the load is suddenly removed, then the system becomes over voltage and it will its mechanical power is more across a turbine side as compared to its electrical power. So it is very necessary. Suppose sudden over voltage or overload is occurring over a grid or any substation or any bus, then definitely the voltage terminal of that bus decreases suddenly. So it is our duty to diagnose the problem of voltage level. We have several instruments available. For example, we have a transformer, auto recloser are there, we have auto transformer, we have a line reactor to control the line voltage, as well as the VAR, basically the reactive volt ampere, which can manipulate balance the power at the terminal side of the both buses. It may be sending it may be the receiving end. Now also the transfer capability of various parameters like bus voltage, power, load sharing, it is very necessary. If we have a knowledge of the stability, suppose the 3 bus system or the 3 substation or the 3 grid are transferring their data over a common platform for their bus voltage, power, load capability, then it is very easy to share their load, to share their output of the power, to share their output of the voltage at the time of overhauling, at the time of shutdown, at the time of breakdown, right? That is why the stability analysis is very necessary. Now what is the stability limit? Stability limit means up to which point we can tolerate our disturbance in our power system. Basically it is a maximum power flow possible through some particular point in the system while maintaining stability in entire system or the part of the system to which the stability bears. This is the main point, stability bears. It means it is basically a limit till when our equipment, our system can withstand with a problem or the disturbance without failure of itself or without causing the failure of the equipment, right? That is the stability limit. It may be a short time, it may be a long time. Suppose few instruments have very large capacity to bear the or tolerate the disturbance. Few instruments are very sensitive. The such instruments which are very sensitive, they are categorized under transient stability limit, and those who has a capacity of very large power handling or tolerable capacity is very large, such instruments are categorized under steady state limit, stability limit, right? Now we have two stability limits, the transient as well as the steady state. The transient stability limit is a maximum flow of power through a particular point in a power system without loss of stability when large or sudden disturbance occur. This large means the amount of disturbance is large. Sudden means for a short time, right? The steady state limit refers to the maximum flow of power through a particular point without causing the loss of stability when the power is increased very gradually. This gradually we can see that we have already seen earlier days that for a few time our nation is going to off all the lighting or the illuminating equipments. So it is known to every power engineer, they have already prepared then that how to maintain such power outage, because each and every person is closing its illumination system, its lighting system gradually, switching off their illumination system, bulb, tube lights, CFL, LEDs, street lights, etc., and gradually increased the opening of the switches, right? So it is a known factor and we are prepared about it, right? The gradual process is known as under the steady state limit, right? A system can never be operated higher than its steady state limit, but it can operate beyond the transient state limit. This is very important. We don't have any system which can operate more than the steady state limit, because steady state limit set the what is the maximum tolerable capacity of any system. Beyond it, the system crash down, right? Now what is the infinite bus? This is very interesting topic, and several times it is asked in a university question paper also, that what is the infinite bus, right? The bus whose voltage and frequency remain constant even after the variation in the load is known as the infinite bus. We have designed a bus system in a grid or in any large substation. What is infinite bus? It is a place, it is a interconnection of several power plant over a common bus system, whose voltage, it means the terminal voltage, and whose frequency, it means the operating frequency, is constant throughout the time. It means if certain generator is removed from that bus, the voltage does not goes down, and if certain generator is connected to or a new generator is connected to that bus, then frequency also does not disturb the terminal of the bus. Suppose we have a n bus system are connected here, G1, G2, G3 and G4 like this. Suppose G3 is removed and it has a before removing it has a voltage V comma F. Let V comma F is a terminal voltage and frequency of a bus system. Suppose G3 is removed, then after removal of G3 or a generator 3, again the terminal voltage and frequency does not going to deviate from V comma F. It means the terminal voltage and frequency remains always constant of that bus, and this logic of infinite bus is always used in a power system for its analysis. This is also helpful for installation of a new power plant, for a connection of a new power plant with the help of a renewable energy, what we are using in a wind system, what we are using in a solar system, connecting with a grid. Sometime it is known as with a connection of on grid, and sometime it is known as with the connection of off grid. Now the alternator operating in a parallel in a power system is the example of infinite bus. The on and off of any of the alternator will not affect the working of the power system, right? This is very important. Now what is the variation with respect to frequency and the demand? The voltage and frequency remains constant even after the disturbance of the load. The connection and the disconnection of any of the machine will not affect the magnitude of the phase voltage. Remember, phase voltage, we are not talking about the line voltage, and frequency of the infinite bus. In an infinite bus system, the voltage and frequency remains always constant. If you see from this diagram, if the demand increases, the frequency becomes low, but it can be managed by the supply. Now if the supply increases, the demand decreases and the frequency become high. This both high and low frequency can directly manipulate with the help of the angular operation or the rotation of the alternator, and alternator is coupled with a turbine and prime mover, so all are running at a constant rotating speed, that is angular speed omega, and that is why the frequency remains constant throughout the system. Now it is our duty to maintain a constant speed, that is a synchronous speed between the alternator, between the turbine, between the prime mover, so that a constant frequency mechanism is maintained throughout the supply system, which is very necessary. We are not worried about the current, we are not worried about the voltage, but the main parameter for which we are very much concerned, that is only the frequency of the system. If we have a low voltage, we can adjust it with a transformer. If we have a low current, we can adjust it with adding one more current across it, parallel operation of a current or ampere. But if we have a disturbed frequency, it will disturb all of our electromagnetic equipment, increases the iron loss of the system. So we are very much worried about the frequency parameter, right? Now we will see that what is the power or a load angle. Sometimes also it is known as a torque angle, sometimes it is known as a load angle, power angle, torque angle, alternator angle, right? Well, the power or load angle is defined as a synchronous machine and also for transmission line. When synchronous machine is connected to infinite bus, its speed and terminal voltage are fixed and unalterable. The control variables are only the field current and the mechanical torque of the shaft. Now what is a torque angle or a power angle? We can see from this graph. If the alternator is rotating like this, as seen in this figure, then if you see, the ns is the speed of the synchronous speed of the magnetic field, rotor is rotating at certain ns speed. Now there is an velocity difference, angular velocity difference between the synchronous speed of the magnetic field and actual rotation of the rotor. This is a continuous balancing, or we can say that this is a fixed angular displacement between these two objects, and this angular displacement between synchronous speed and the actual rotor position which it is revolving inside the alternator, the difference is known as a torque angle, and this torque angle reflect in a form of a power angle in a power system or in a transmission line, right? If we plot it, we will see in this 2D graph that if we plot here the power curve with respect to the angular load curve. How we can plot it? We have a derivation of that formula, right? This is basically sine curve, because the power terms in the power expression comes in the term of a sine expression. Now note that the only way to vary load angle is by varying the input of the turbine. This is very important. If we change the input of the turbine, then we can vary the load angle or the torque angle as well as the power angle. Now the input of the turbine can be maintained or the change with the help of the prime mover. In the alternator, sometimes we prefer to change it with the help of a excitation system also, right? The power output of a synchronous generator can be changed by changing its mechanical power or power input. It means if we change the mechanical power, then definitely the electrical power of a alternator also changes. Now what is the power angle range? The system is stable only if the power angle delta is between -90 to +90 degree, where the slope dp by d del is positive. That is range in which an increase in power angle result in an increase in transmitted power. This can be seen with the help of this diagram. What is the slope we are talking about? This vertical axis is a power, horizontal axis is a delta. Now if you see this slope, suppose this slope, this downward slope, this is rate of change of power with respect to the power angle. This must be a linear or a constant for a certain duration of a time, right? Now power angle curve is what? Power angle curve of a synchronous machine is a graphical representation of electrical output which with respect to the power angle, and power angle is also known as a load angle. Therefore it can be said that this curve is a graphical representation of electrical output of generator output or a power with respect to the load angle. How we can analyze it? Let us consider a infinite bus system is arranged with a single generator. This is the terminal voltage of generator. This is a terminal voltage of infinite bus. If we are taking here 0 degree, it means we are taking infinite bus terminal voltage as a reference. Nothing is mentioned in a numerical or any analytical part. We always consider infinite bus as a reference voltage bus. If it is mentioned, then no question arises for it. This is XD, transient reactance of a generator, and this is a transmission line reactance, and we can say that these both are connected in a series, and hence net reactance will be something like this, X total, right? Now this is the one line diagram of the previous one. If you see here, one line diagram is here. Now let V and E are the voltage at infinite bus, and this is a voltage at with respect to the synchronous reactance of a machine, where X is a synchronous or a transient reactance of machine. These both combined together then form a X. Remember please. Right, now we know that apparent power is given by S equals to V dot I. Sometimes in a form of a polar quantity, people write it V dot I conjugate. We can analyze it in a later lectures. Right, now what is the current? If you see here about a current, this is a sending end, this is receiving end, right? Current is flowing from sending to receiving. It means it is at a high potential, this is at a low potential. Potential difference is E del minus V at 0 degree. We can see it from here, right? Divide by the impedance or the reactance. This is XD plus XL. This value inside the bracket is basically the current, and voltage is already written here. When we manipulate it with the help of trigonometry expression, we will solve it like this, right? Now S is equals to E Vx upon del plus J sin cos plus J. Arranging the real part as well as the imaginary part with the help of the trigonometry functions, we will get here the true power P is equals to, I think, EV upon X sin del, and the apparent power is equals to EV upon X cos minus V square upon X. Now we are very much interested about the true power, because our all equipment are assigned over a watt or a megawatt or a kilowatt, so we are interested in a true power only. The true power is this and the apparent power is this. Now what is the maximum steady state power that can be occur? The maximum steady state power occur when, I think this is written wrong, at del is equals to 90 degree. Here it is 90 degree, right? P equals to 90 degree, this becomes 1 and this becomes maximum. And steady state means at del equals to 0. No, we cannot say at del equals to 0. Del tending towards 0 means power is minimum, and this can also be drawn analyzed with the help of this power curve, which we have already seen. Here the del is 0, then definitely the power is 0. Here the del is maximum, pi by 2, then power is also the maximum. Again when the del reaches up to 180 degrees, suppose 180 degree, then again the power becomes less. So this is how it is drawn. The function here obtained in the term of a sine curve, sine function is there, that is why the earlier graph drawn is in a form of a half cycle of a sine curve, right? Now this is the expression. We have a numerical on this expression. We can analyze it separate class in a separate lecture. Now the graphical representation of power as well as the load angle is load angle curve is known as a power angle curve. This is asked several times in university paper, that draw the power angle curve and what is the physical interpretation we obtained from it. This is the physical interpretation what we have obtained from it. This is a curve. This is the generator action. If we go beyond this line, then our alternator becomes a synchronous motor, right? This is the property basically. Now the maximum power can be transferred at delta y equals to 90 degree. Load angle is 90 degree and also decreases to 180 degree, as we have already seen it. At above 180 degree, P becomes negative, which shows that direction of power flow is reversed. This is important. If the load angle is more than 180 degree or 180 degree exactly, then definitely the flow of power is negative. It means the sending end becomes receiving end and receiving end becomes sending end. You also can say that above load angle, the Ferranti effect comes in a knowledge, right? So it is very very important to balance the load angle, and we people always balance this load angle with the help of the prime mover as well as the turbine, right? If the value of P often calls as a power pull out power, and this is also called a steady state limit. The total reactance is the transfer reactance, and the maximum power limit is inversely proportional to the transfer reactance. This is also important. If the transfer reactance increases, the power decreases, and transfer reactance decreases, then power increases. That is why we always plan to apply to design a minimum value of reactance of our line, minimum value of reactance of our generator at the time of designing or at the time of construction. Now there are a few important physical interpretations. What are that? These all are asked in university paper more of the times. This simply means that generator electrical output is less than the mechanical output. Number one, the poles of machine will start to slip and eventually it will lose synchronism. This is very very important. If our alternator lost its synchronism, then it can be said that the mechanical coupling or the magnetic coupling between alternator field have failed. Thus the generator becomes unstable. Unstable means the coupling medium fails. It may possible that centrifugal force is not balancing the centripetal force inside the alternator, and hence the oscillation start inside the alternator. The steady state limit is the maximum power flow, and we have to see that power increase gradually. It is at our control. Now how much the power increase gradually? This can be only controlled with the help of by checking that our alternator will not lose its synchronism. If it lose, then we have to lose everything, right? And also with the help of delta, already we have seen that not only steady state limit, rather transient stability limit is also affected by the load at which machine is operating. Transient state stability limit is basically the maximum amount of power flow possible without loss of synchronism when sudden disturbance occur. Now how we can analyze this stability? The transient stability determined by the equal area criteria. This is method we will see in the later lectures how we can utilize it, which uses power angle curve. Thus power angle curve is very very important for study the stability of the. It means from the power angle curve we study the steady state analysis, and from the equal area criteria analysis of the power angle we will see the transient state analysis. Thank you for this lecture. We will continue in the next lecture with a new topic of the same chapter. Thank you so much.